Hi, I'm Jordan, one of the founders at Mudstack. Mudstack is an asset management platform purpose-built for artists and game studios. We're building the operating system for modern game studios, focusing on empowering teams to work better together through version control, collaboration, asset management, and automation. I wanted to take the time to take everyone through a quick demonstration of the Mudstack platform using our desktop application. I've prepared a collection of files that I'll be adding to Mudstack. I'll be managing those files within the Mudstack platform. I'll be collaborating with some of my peers. I'll create new versions. I'll give feedback. I'll receive some feedback, and I'll show how our version control solution works better for artists than Git and Perforce and allows them to maintain cloud synchronization without disrupting greater project workflows. To get started in Mudstack is really simple. You just download our desktop application and map a workspace to a local directory of content. And so I'm going to map this workspace to a directory of content that I've already prepared. And when I do that mapping, Mudstack is going to go through all those files. It's going to index them. It's going to understand which files are unique, which files are duplicates, and it's going to bring all of that metadata into the Mudstack platform. Now that I've got these files inside of Mudstack, I can start to do things like creating libraries and tags. I can create a library for specific 3D assets, create a library for an upcoming sprint. I can create a library using any context that's important to me. Those libraries will allow me to better manage the content that's important to me as an artist across your deep hierarchies and folder hierarchies and naming conventions. So if, for example, I wanted to add all of my fighter models to my 3D model library, I would easily be able to do that by searching for those file types and adding them to the 3D file library. You can also do things like create tags that you can assign to your files to help you search for assets and content within the system in a much faster way than searching by names. It's great to be able to put files into libraries, which provides a flat hierarchy-less collection of content. But tags allow you to maintain your search through the folder hierarchies as you're navigating. They allow you to quickly filter and facet on files using tags. And so in this scenario, I'm going to create a tag called fighter, and I'm going to assign that tag to those files. And now all of those files have the fighter tag, and I'm able to rapidly search throughout all the files in my workspace and find anything with that tag now. And that's just going to help artists to work much faster than they could otherwise. So now I've onboarded my workspace. It's time for me to push this content to the cloud so that I can invite other artists to start collaborating with me. And I'm going to push these files and these libraries and the tags I created to the cloud. And then I'm going to go and start inviting some people to collaborate with me. I'm going to go and invite a member to join my account. And so I'm going to invite my collaborator Joseph to join me on my account. And he should get that invitation and accept that invitation. And I will then be able to add him to any of my account workspaces, which I'm adding him now to my Thrawn's Revenge workspace. And I'm going to give him permission to not only to manage art, but I'm also going to give him some other permissions that will allow him to access the ability to provide feedback. So as the permissioning works in Mudstack, it's layered from the account down to the workspace. This allows an account to have any number of workspaces, but to have granular controls around those workspaces and around what users can actually do on any workspace. So Joseph has the manage art permission. I've also given him the review permission on the account. And what that means is that on any workspace, I can assign Joseph as an artist or as a reviewer. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to assign Joseph as an artist, and he can also review content. And that's going to allow him to request changes from me or provide feedback and review. I can also explicitly request feedback from Joseph. And that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to find a file in the system, and I'm going to ask Joseph if he can give me some feedback. And so I'm going to go to this file, and I'm going to add him as a reviewer. And so on this file, I've got my tags, my libraries that I sort of walked through earlier. I've got the ability to add a reviewer. And so I'm going to add Yoshi, or not Yoshi, that's me. I'm going to add Joseph as a reviewer. He really needs to change his username to something that I can understand. But I'm going to add him as a reviewer. And he's going to get a request specifically to review this file. It's going to be really easy for him to find. It's going to sit inside of his dashboard, and he's going to see that he has an outstanding review request. If I go back to my dashboard, you'll see that I have a review request for base ops concept. It's this concept that was created in Photoshop. I've got my Photoshop thumbnail here. I'm going to open that version locally and then see that file inside of Photoshop. And using our annotation toolbar, I'm able to provide a pretty comprehensive review of this file inside of Photoshop. So our annotation toolbar mounts directly to our the desktop. It allows you to annotate directly on a file inside of any application, whether it's in Photoshop, Maya, ZBrush, it doesn't matter. They can review directly in source. They can review inside Photoshop. They can point to whatever they need to point to help artists understand what they need to do and provide that feedback directly on top of the file to the platform. I'm able to tell Joseph, this part of the file doesn't represent our original intent. That sounds great. And so I'm going to submit this change request to Joseph, and I'm going to assign it to him as well. And so Joseph is going to get an outstanding change request, and he's going to see that he needs to go and make changes. And I'll show you what that looks like by having Joseph quickly leave a change request for me. And so I'm going to do that right now and request changes on a file. And you can see that I'm doing that here. I'll actually share this process, what this looks like. And so Joseph is a reviewer on this. I'm just going to create a simple change request and assign it to Jordan. Joseph sent me a change request. He's not very good collaborator because he didn't tell me what he wants changed. But in my dashboard, I'm going to see that change request. I'm going to see that there's a change request. I'm going to be able to go to that file and begin iterating on it. And so I've got that file selected, and I'm able to, as I did before, open that file. I'm going to make a very simple change to this file just to keep things moving. I'm going to make a simple change. And so I'm going to open this in Photoshop here. Hopefully it'll open shortly. And I'm just going to move that file a little bit. And as soon as I save that file on my machine, the Mudstack desktop application is going to pick up a new version. And this is where the version control system comes into place. I've got a new version on my machine. I'm able to push that new version to the cloud very easily and say, I moved the file. So we're going to say here, we've got YZ art style reposition moved per Joseph request. I'm going to push this up with with that commit message. And Joseph is going to see those changes come down for him, and he's going to have those changes replicated locally. If I go and I find that file again, I'm just going to search by PSD, find that file again, you'll see that I've got the push history for this file. I've got now my new version that I've created, which is now the active version. In my history, you can see that Joseph came in and he requested a change, and I pushed a new version. And when I pushed that new version to the cloud after Joseph requested his change, Joseph is going to have a refreshed request to provide new feedback on that file. And so this is that sort of feedback loop that we have within the platform where someone can request a change and assign that change to me. If I iterate on the major file, then they're going to get a whole new review request. And that's going to create a cyclical process in which I can make iterations asynchronously, and my stakeholders and peers can asynchronously provide that feedback. And that's the core flow of the desktop application. We built Mudstack to make it really easy for artists to collaborate together. We wanted artists to be able to push their changes from the cloud, to selectively synchronize changes down from the cloud, to provide feedback and request feedback from their stakeholders, and to manage all of their tasks in one seamless platform. And that's it for our demo. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing how artists can work better together using Mudstack's digital asset management, collaboration, and version control platform purpose built for artists and game studios.